Welcome back, everybody. This is Rusty here at FCP Euro, and we're going to be going over the air filter replacement on our 2018 B9 Audi S5. So we're going to be going over the replacement of the air filter. There's a couple of key points on reinstalling this air filter specifically. We're going to be touching on that later in the video, but this is the Hengst E1452L. So there's one small difference between this filter and the one that we'll be removing. The way that it's installed, it does have a slight twist lock formation. Don't be alarmed, we'll be going over that here shortly. The manufacturer does suggest to replace the air filter every 6 years or 60,000 miles. However, here at FCP Euro, we do suggest every 20,000 miles to take a look at it. And then furthermore, depending on driving style, about every 40,000 miles, you should at least consider a replacement. So upon inspecting the air filter, once you open up the air box, you'll probably see debris across here indicating that the filter has been worn, maybe some leaves in the air box, a little bit of water staining. The filter is made of a paper material, so as it begins to age, it can warp and become stained. So if you're experiencing poor fuel economy or a lack of throttle response, you may want to consider a replacement, although it is just a good peace of mind to go in there and replace the filter anyway. Now that we've gone over the filter that we're going to be installing, let's go over the tools you'll need to do the job. You're only going to need a few tools. We have a couple variations, mainly minimally a flathead screwdriver along with a T25 either screwdriver or a bit driver with the T25 attachment. The screws do go into plastic, so use your discretion whether you want to use the screwdriver or the bit driver. And then if you have a socket set with a 1/4-inch ratchet for the 7mm clamp, if you don't want to use the flathead screwdriver. So one more tool that's not pictured here is a shop vac in case you do find a lot of leaves and debris inside of the airbox. It's definitely a lot easier to just vacuum it out than pull the airbox all out and tap it out. And now that we know what we're working with, let's get going. So we're just going to go ahead and remove a couple of the T25 screws on top of the airbox. And you'll notice they don't come all the way out of the box. They do stay in the box when you're removing them. Next up is the clamp. It's a 7mm or a flathead screwdriver. You just want to get that loose enough so that you can pull it back. Make sure that the pipe is loosening up. Go ahead and lift the box. Oh, I can already hear some leaves and debris. Obviously, this is a great time to go grab the shop vac. If you don't have a shop vacuum accessible, we'll go over removing the actual airbox and dumping it out and clearing out some of that debris. So if you don't have a shop vac and you're planning on removing the box to tap it out, the best way to do that is to remove the snorkel here, which is access to the screws in the front of the panel. We'll get into removing the front panel here and that snorkel to get the airbox out to clean it out. So just a flathead screwdriver to push in the detent in the back to release that, and it is keyed, so be careful of that on installation. And then just pulling up on the panel, releasing it from its clips. Yours may or may not have all of them as well. And then the T25 screws in the front of the airbox here. And then just go ahead, pull the snorkel out from behind the radiator support, set it aside. Then you have full access to pull the box off the grommets, moving the snorkel out of the way, making sure not to damage this. As you can see, a couple of the grommets do get stuck to the box. You may want to just pop those off and reinstall those back into the body. Once you have the air filter out, there is that one point that we were talking about earlier. The slight difference in this air filter is that there's a tab right here. You just have to push that out. That's not going to be a tab that's located on the new air filter. Removing all the debris from this, you may want to clean the inside of this. There is some dust and dirt collecting in there. So once you've got the old air filter removed, we did talk about the tab. That is a slight difference in the Hengst air filter compared to the one that you've removed. And you're going to want to index that tab to the bottom of the lid, screws being the top of the lid. When you flip it over, you're going to want to index that tab towards the top upon installation so that when you go to replace it down the road, you have easy access to that tab to release it. So you just put it on with the tab passed and click it into place. You don't have that same tab here, just locks in with that locating tab at the bottom. So when you go to replace it down the road, you don't want it on either corner down here for ease of removal. There's just that locking tab, putting a screwdriver in behind and twisting in a counterclockwise position. Reinstalling the airbox, ensuring it's pressed into the grommets. Giving it a little tug to make sure it's snug. And then we'll go ahead and reinstall the snorkel we took out. Just reinstall the two T25 screws in the front end. and then just clipping the front trim piece back into place and the hood lever. And then there is a little detent in order to remove that we had to, making sure that snaps into place. There we go. Once you reinstall the hood lever, if you've taken the snorkel out, just make sure that the latches still operate when you're moving it, and make sure that it doesn't pop out so that you don't have a hard time next time you go to open the hood. Reinstalling the air filter, pulling back the snorkel, setting it on there, ensuring that all the screws line back up correctly. There we go. You may need to pull up on them just to get it to sit flush before you put the screws in. Just give it a couple of squeezes, make sure that clamp is back in place. Really want to tighten the box up first before you tighten the clamp as well. And then go back and tighten up the clamp, making sure that it's fully seated. And that also doesn't have to be that tight. Once it's snugged down, just a good quarter turn. Give it a good pull, making sure all corners of the box are seated and sealed and all the screws are tight. And there you have it. You've just replaced the engine air filter on your B9 Audi S5. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comment section below in this video. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and subscribe for future DIYs coming on this vehicle and many more. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.